Hello sports fans, and today we're going to be doing a Let's Play video and Ready Steady Play on Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl is a fantasy football game set in the world of Lord of the Rings.
What? No, it's
right?
Warhammer.
It's Warhammer.
Yeah.
What? It's Warhammer?
Yeah, I know this part of the Warhammer universe hasn't been destroyed yet.
This wasn't destroyed. You're referencing the Age of Sigmar.
Yes.
I don't actually know what happened in the Age of Sigmar.
I haven't got time.
You haven't got time. So, is it a long story?
Yes, it is a very, very long story. It's actually, don't get me wrong, I love what they've done with that story, but I'm unfortunately one of those fans that was like, you actually destroyed it. But I'm not going to go into that. I don't knock Games Workshop for doing it, because their sell figures prove why they did it as well.
I have no comment on that, because I have not played Warhammer Fantasy Battles since 2001.
Oh, I did.
Which seems like yesterday, but was actually 15 years ago.
Anyway.
Holy cow.
My name is Matthew Spears.
Also known as Lightofhand on YouTube. And I'm Michael Dennis. And we're going to be playing Blood Bowl, which is fantasy football set in a parallel Warhammer universe.
Yeah.
Warhammer Fantasy, not Warhammer 40k. Important, because there's no guns. Otherwise, if there was, they would surely be used by the players in this game.
Yes, that's true. Well, I'm sure the dwarfs may probably get a character that does that later, but...
Oh, that's true. They do have guns and steamrollers and chainsaws and all kinds of stuff. So this is the 5th edition of Blood Bowl. It's a 2016 release. It's just come out this week, last week.
By the time this video comes out, I'm not sure if that will be the case, but it came out... Yes, it did come out last week by the time we're filming this. I'm afraid I couldn't meet Michael before then, so...
Well, we were very excited to have a game, because we both had this as kids.
Well, yes,
The first edition, when did that come out? First edition was...
God. That was the little cardboard pieces.
Yeah, it came with all the little cardboard teams.
You didn't get the polystyrene pitch for that one either. That was the second edition.
I feel like that was 1988.
It would have been in the 80s, because I remember my brother used to make me play Blood Bowl when I was younger. It
might have even been earlier, because the edition I had, which was 3rd edition, came out in 1994.
Yeah. It probably was earlier, actually, the first edition.
1994. That's 22 years ago.
Yeah, don't remind me. I was 14 then.
Oh my god. So, but there was another edition, the 4th edition, that came out in 2001 or 2002, and that bared a lot of resemblance to the 1994 edition, but it had slightly updated rules, the miniatures were slightly cooler, and then that's basically been the edition for the last 14 years, with a sort of a hardcore group of fans online, led by the designer of Blood Bowl, creating like the living rule book and sort of updating the rules and creating leagues. I mean, Blood Bowl has a very rabid fan base, and you can see because fans of the game, keep trying to create more Blood Bowl. You know, we've seen it. We've got Dread Bowl, Chaos Bowl, Guild Bowl, so much, and it's all slightly different variations on the same kind of theme, which is fantasy and football. And in fact, the year Blood Bowl came out, TSR released Monsters of the Midway, which was another fantasy football game.
I didn't know that one, actually. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's not seen a reprint since the 80s.
I do want to say...
I think, don't quote me on that.
I do want to say one thing about Dread Bowl for a minute. It's a bit more of a mixture of American football, and basketball.
Oh, really?
Because you actually have to throw the ball into hoops.
Is Dread Bowl the one that's set in the science fiction universe?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more basketball than American football.
But you can beat the living crap out. Sorry, you can hurt each other, yeah.
I think you're okay to say crap on this channel, Matthew. I know you're very sensitive to that, but unfortunately I'm not.
No, I've seen that.
So, polite warning now, there may be exclamations, especially in a game like this, where it relies on dice rolls, some of which can be really crippling.
Yeah, they can end your turn, basically.
Not just that, but put your team members out. Double punishing. But, so I used to play a lot of Blood Bowl as a kid. I used to play with my friends. We'd have Blood Bowl has this system where you can have like a league, so you make a team and players get better or worse as they develop or are injured, and you can sort of track a team through a league. and ultimately there'll be someone who wins overall.
Yeah, well, there's a playoff. You have a playoff at the end. I think the top 4 teams would end up in a semi-final, or even you could do the top 2 end up in the final as well. There are rules actually on how to do the league, and even in doing a tournament or a cup tournament. Is actually in a separate book that is not sold within this starter set though.
So you have to buy this separately, but don't worry because you can get it for the low price of RRP of 18 or £20.
Somewhere around there, yes.
But it's okay because the British pound is basically not worth anything right now. So
yes.
£20 is nothing.
I'm not going to get involved in that.
No comment.
No comment. I didn't vote that way, but I'm not going into it.
We're not going to talk about politics on this. We're not going to talk about very divisive politics on this. Except we just did. But, oops. Anyway, the point is that you can buy this supplement. This actually has, because people have been collecting teams for like 20 plus years now.
Yeah.
And, I have an elf team somewhere. I've got the human team and the orc team from the old sets. People have, elf team, lizardman teams, dwarf teams, all different models. So all of them are compatible with this set. You can get all your old models out, still use them, and all the rules, or at least a lot of the rules for those teams, are in this book. So, picking this up will give you all those league rules, all the extra team rules. But if all you want is to play it as a board game, out of the box, just play a one-off game, you can do that too.
Oh, no, it's not all the other teams from the other block.
It's not.
It's the elves, the elfin teams.
The elven teams?
All the elven teams.
So 4 elven teams.
4 elven teams, because that's the dark elves, wood elves, high elves, and the union.
Elf union, which is just elves.
Yeah.
Elves.
Then you've got the Nurgle Rotters.
Right.
You haven't got normal chaos.
Really?
You don't have the Cornetic team, which I think was actually more created for the computer game than it was actually a league team, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I am surprised that you don't have the Chaos team, because they were like one of the big sort of famous
They were
ones.
my favourite team at one point as well.
In fact, we've got this little trophy here back from when I used to play that I acquired from my local games workshop back in the day. And this is an official Blood Bowl trophy thingy, and I'll show you guys. Look, it's pretty neat. We used to pass this around my league at home. When I was, we used to pass this around the league when I used to play as a child to the winner of the league and stuff like that. But this was officially produced as a Blood Bowl trophy for, I'm going to say 3rd edition, but actually it was probably for the release of 4th edition. I think that's when I picked this up. And I won it at the Games Workshop as part of a thing, I think.
Could be. They used to do giveaways with in their shops.
So that's pretty neat. So we've got it out to give to the winner of this game here to symbolise your victory on the channel.
I do want to say one other thing. We did forget 2 teams. We've got the Dwarfs and Skaven also come in that book as well.
Right, yes. Anyone else?
That's it.
So you got 4 elf teams, 1 chaos team, which is Nurgle.
Nurgle. It's not even your normal chaos, the undivided.
Dwarves and Skaven.
Yeah.
Lizardmen?
Nope.
Amazons?
Nope. No Norsemen either.
No Norse werewolves?
No undead.
No undead?
No undead.
But can these teams be downloaded from the Games Workshop website?
This I don't know at this minute. I'll be honest with you. I haven't checked this. I haven't looked. So sorry guys. Their rules are probably going to be similar anyway from what they were before. The humans look similar. So if your friends don't mind if you use some of the old rules, most people wouldn't anyway. But you will meet some people who will.
To be fair, a lot of the rules, we looked at the rules for this, and a lot of them haven't really changed. It looks very, very similar to Teams of Legend. Look at that. Let's have a look. What's that? Chaos Dwarves, Blood Bowl Teams of Legend. Chaos Dwarves, Chaos Chosen,
Goblins,
Halflings. This is all the Lizardmen. All these teams are available online on the Games Workshop. This is a 2016 release, so these are all compatible with the new thing. So basically, don't worry, all the rules are online if they're not in the Death Zone book.
Yeah.
So you can start up your own league, play with your old teams, or, like I was beginning to say there, if you just want to play with it out the box, like a sort of a standard board game, you could do that too. I say a standard board game, but a lot of board games are moving in this sort of like ongoing campaign style now. What with like Descent and Imperial Assault and stuff like that. And in fact, when Conan came out recently, the Conan board game, a lot of people were complaining that it didn't sort of have an ongoing, persistent adventure structure for it.
It's true.
So there is that. But anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about sports and stuff. Are you into American football, Matthew?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Sorry to be that person, guys. Unfortunately, I don't like the whole. It just keeps stopping and starting, stopping and starting, stopping and starting. No disrespect to anyone who does like it. Kudos for you, but I can't. Even when the Super Bowl's on, I'm not actually interested. Sorry, guys. I like English football, or soccer, as you guys maybe like calling it.
So you are into sports, just not American football?
Yeah, just not American football. Believe it or not, I like rugby, football, boxing, UFC.
Is this at all similar to rugby?
No, not really, because you throw the ball forward. Rugby, you have to pass the ball to the side.
You can't throw the ball forward in rugby?
No. You can kick the ball forward in rugby, but then the ball bounces funny, doesn't it?
I don't.
Sorry. Yeah, no.
I don't do sports at all. Blood Bowl is the closest I ever come to sports.
I might watch ice hockey. That could be interesting. I actually like it when they actually have a punch up.
I used to watch ice hockey, actually, because I'm Canadian. But my brother is the real ice hockey fan. I'm shuffling these cards. So we've got the orcs and the humans. They come out of the box. But so did you ever play leagues and stuff? Because when we were kids, we used to play leagues and stuff, but... I remember we'd always go down to the Games Workshop to play and discover all these rules, because there was rules that we just didn't like, so we just didn't use them. And we'd all just agree that this is a crap rule and we won't use it.
Yeah, it all depends on who you're playing with, really, when I was younger. Some people were really, really just friendly about the game. Some people were just strict to the rules, keep to the... one little mistake, where's your turnover, sort of thing.
Right, so there is like an almost optional degree of pedantry you can have in this game, because there's a lot of rules that are quite pedantic. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's a bit overly harsh, to be honest, because, you know, if you are the kind of person that likes to play by all the rules fastidiously, you shouldn't be criticized for that. Having said that, you know, you can determine how casual and how serious you want the game to be, and you and your opponent can agree on that beforehand.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'll give you two rules. One is that we're going to discuss before we set up and before we play, and one is called legal procedure. And I think, and I will be corrected by all the fans of Blood Bowl if I'm wrong here, but I think legal procedure only comes into play in two cases. One is when you forget to move your turn counter,
scoring,
and or for scoring.
No,
this scoring?
That's scoring.
Right? When you forget to move your turn counter here.
Sorry.
So these are the turn counters here. When you forget to move your... I'm getting used to these new big dugouts.
Yeah.
I'm used to the old 1994
Yeah,
board.
but they're so much better, these ones.
They are much better.
Yeah.
So if you forget to move your turn counter, your opponent can call you on legal procedure, and then you actually have to roll to see if you suffer a turnover, which means that your turn immediately ends. And if that happened, because that would be at the beginning of your turn, you would actually have been unable to do anything else. But and the other time legal procedure comes in, is you've got two moves you can do during your turn that are actually sort of special maneuvers. Every team can do them. They're called blitz and pass, and we'll get into the sort of details of how play actually works in a minute. But blitz allows you to do a move and a block, and pass allows you to do a move and a pass, where normally you can do just one of those two actions per player per turn. So if you forget to declare that you're going to do a blitz when you start to blitz, or forget to declare when you're going to do a pass when you're going to pass, again, then you have to roll for turnover because that's an illegal procedure.
Yeah.
Matthew and I are not going to use those for this playthrough. The other rule that sort of comes under this umbrella for me is the 4-minute turn timer. So you've got this optional rule where everybody has 4 minutes to take their entire turn, and if they fail their turn, they suffer a turnover when the 4 minutes is up. Again, we're not going to do that because we're filming a video, and it's sort of more of a casual play for us here. Again, these are sort of strict tournament rules that you might use at a sort of because people play Blood Bowl people are huge fans of it, and there are big leagues and big tournaments and stuff that you can get involved in if that's what you want to do. But here, when we're playing at home, when we're playing the starter set just as a sort of a casual board game experience, we don't have to use those rules. They are optional. And so we're going to collaborate to make sure we remember to declare blitzes, remember to move our turn tokens on, and also we're not going to enforce this 4-minute rule. And if Matthew's taking a long time, I'm going to go, hurry up, Matthew, I'm bored.
Well, I'm going to add something else here. We both haven't played for how long?
The last game of Blood Bowl I had was at least 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would have said probably 12 to 13 for me. So...
Yeah, it's probably longer than that.
Yeah.
At least 10, probably more like 12 or 13 years ago for me, yeah.
I think the main reason why I got the game is because I've met a lot more gamers who are very, 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 very friendly. And I think, I did kind of enjoy Blood Bowl. So I know that it's like people like Mike here and some others you've even met in this channel as well would be like Gary. Are very friendly people.
Gary is a huge fan of Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get him for this video playthrough because he'd already arranged to play Blood Bowl with someone else.
Yeah.
It's fine. He doesn't want to play with us scrubs. Sorry, we probably need this casual warm-up game anyway before we play with Gary and his elite vampire team.
Yeah, probably, yeah. No, look, it would be like, we'll set up and go, all right. Oh.
That was dead, that was dead, that was dead, that was a thrall. No, what is happening? And now I resurrect 10 zombies. What the hell? What's going on?
Yeah. I don't believe there are any of the rules of the game yet, guys, but you never know. We haven't checked the Undead team out yet.
Traditionally, Undead didn't have referees, or coaches, sorry. Instead of an Undead coach, you just had a necromancer who could resurrect zombies on the field. I
believe, actually, if someone died on the opposing side, you could actually have them as a team member at the end of the game. I can't remember properly, but I do.
Just give me all players.
Yeah.
Give me all the players. So, Matthew asked me, what team would you like to play? I said I'll be the humans and you can be the orcs.
Yep. I'm the boys.
Yep. We decided that at the time, which was yesterday when I was talking to Matthew, who's about to go out drinking, I said you'll probably be hungover, so you can play the orcs because that mindset kind of synchronizes.
I didn't have enough.
But it looks like he's okay. So maybe he'll be too smart to be the orcs today. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
But we are playing at my home, so we are using the green human side of the board. But Matthew's got the orc dugout over there.
Yeah, should we actually show him the dugout? Because I don't think they can see it from here. So do you want to, if we just move the stuff off, I'll show him the orc side for a minute.
Hey, why don't you show them the dugouts?
Yeah, I'll show him my orc side one for a second. Hopefully I can, I'm not sure if I can, well, they'll see this in the light as well. Okay, that's the orc side. Okay, so that line there is for score. You're scoring. That line there is for your first half, second half, and that's your re-rolls. That's your reserve players that sit into there. Mm. There's your stunned players, like KO'd, so they may not come back straight away. Unfortunately, these are your crippled, really badly injured, or dead players. And if you turn it over to the other side, you can actually. Not just turn it over to the other side, guys.
Flip it over.
Yeah, flip it over, I should have done. Exactly the same, except for humans, and it looks a lot more tidier. Now, the other side of this board is the orcs, which is a little bit more messier pitch.
So the pitch kind of matches that side, the orc side of the dugout there.
But
and we should mention, actually, you did show them the reserve box there. You have 11 players. So a Blood Bowl team can contain up to 16 players, but you'll only ever have 11 on a pitch at any given time. And if any are knocked out or seriously injured during the game... Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, Matthew. Mm. You can bring on your reserves to replace them, but only during halftime? Or is it any time a touchdown scored?
Anytime there's a kickoff moment.
Every time there's a kickoff.
Yeah.
So you can bring in your reserves to replace anyone that was knocked out or injured. Mm. You can also roll to see if your knocked out players wake up, but the injured players are out for the game.
Yep.
And may have to, if you're playing a persistent league, would have to roll on an injury table, which may permanently reduce their playing prowess, or even take them out of future games as well.
Again, that comes in this book here, unfortunately, guys. Injuries come into this book. Also, apocryphes.
Apothecaries.
Yeah.
Yep. Who sort of... Apothecaries can be deployed once per game, right? To sort of...
change an injury roll.
Change an injury roll. Like if you've got your star player there, and you roll, and he dies, and you're like, oh no. So you deploy your apothecary, and instead he's just like... seriously injured or something.
Yeah, I do remember years ago.
Actually, you probably have to re-roll it. I mean, this is a Games Workshop game, so basically, whenever you would get a benefit, instead you just roll the dice again, and maybe it turns out worse.
Yes, that
or
has happened to me.
Maybe better.
The computer game is very good at doing that. The amount of times I played, it ended up with -1 armor or something, and then it would end up being dead, and then you have to pick between the two. It's kind of like.
I thought you had to accept the second result.
In the computer game, you didn't.
I didn't play the video game.
Oh, okay.
I just played the tabletop one.
At least I believe. I could be wrong there, guys.
Anyway, we don't care about those silly video games. We're playing with proper games.
Yes, a miniature board.
and a miniatures board. So, where were we? We were talking about the teams. You're going to be the orcs. I'm going to be the humans. The teams have different kinds of players on them. Let's talk a bit about the different kinds of players because we have slightly different setups.
Yep.
But we've got 4 cards here on each side that represent each of the different kinds of players on our squads. As you get more teams and more different kinds of stuff, so that you actually get... What happened to the star players? Did we put them all
yeah,
in?
I put them. Yeah,
So you actually have more cards here, and these are these are star player cards for, I guess, models that will come out.
Yep.
These models do exist already, but they are out of print. So, for example, this is Morgenthorg. I actually have him somewhere from way back in the day, but I wonder if they'll release another Morgenthorg. Probably.
Yeah.
It depends, I guess, how well this sells. But in the meantime, you can hire him as part of your sort of league, or I guess if you want to set up a one-off game with star players, you can kind of use their gold cost to balance the teams.
They have changed his rule slightly in that book over there. Where it says here he can only work with orcs and humans, in the book over there it specifically says he can work for any team except for undead. And he mentioned, I think, 3 different undead teams, which was the...
Vampire Counts, Khemri,
and Normal Undead.
Normal Undead, yeah.
Yeah, Necromantic I think they're actually called, aren't they?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So you've got your star player cards. You get 4 of those in the box.
4.
4, yeah. You've got the Ogre, you've got Varag Ghoul Chewer, an Orc player, Griff Oberwald, and
Mighty Zug.
Mighty Zug, who are human players.
Yeah.
Mighty Zug, does he have allegiance, or is he definitely human?
I think he's mostly human, but we can... the book... the card here, I think it just says any human team. Yeah. The cards...
The cards are actually quite nice. The card stock's sort of quite thick, and they're nicely printed and nicely designed as well.
Yes.
But this is your bog standard man, the line man, and here's a human line man. That one matches the picture, but you've actually got some variation on the models.
Got 3 variations.
You got 3?
Yes, you got 3 variations.
Oh, yeah. You've also got this man as well. So these are all the different linemen there for the human side. You've got what special skills they have, their stats. If you're playing an ongoing game, they can acquire skills and new stats. If you're playing a one-off game, this is how they are composed. Then on the human side, we've also got some blitzers. Blitzers are sort of your tough and, I guess, your sort of tough guys who sort of specialize in blocking and beating up your opponent. Because ultimately, Blood Bowl, the winner is the person with the highest score, but the fun part is killing people.
I think
isn't it?
Blitzers for me are kind of your really, really good all-rounders. They're not just good at trying to take people out because they got block for a start. They're also the ones that are quite good at getting touchdowns. They're not as fast as catchers, but they are faster than normal players.
Right. To sort of clarify, they are the people who are sort of designed to blitz. Yeah. And if you remember, blitz is the special maneuver where you move and then do a block. Because in the game, you can choose, you can move, you can do a move, or you can do a block, or you can do a pass, or you can, take another action. But usually you can only do one. Blitz is a special that allows you to do 2, but you can only blitz once per round. So your blitzers are very good at blitzing. I guess that's pretty logical. Then you've got your throwers here. On the human side, they've got sure hands and pass as skills. Sure hands makes them better at picking up the ball, and pass makes them better at passing the ball. Again, it's Games Workshop, so that just means if you roll crap, you can re-roll it. Great. That's their whole thing. They're pretty fragile, though, so they'll, be careful with those guys.
No, they're the same as linesmen.
Are they the same? They are exactly the same.
As linesmen.
I guess humans are pretty fragile, then.
In some ways, yes.
And then you've got your catchers, who look like this. And they've got catch and dodge. So dodge makes them harder to knock down when they're in a block. It doesn't affect tackle zones, does it, when you're dodging in and out of tackle zones?
I'm not sure. I might do a reroll. I'm not sure if you get a reroll or not. I'd have to go through the rules again. You've caught me out.
We're well prepared. Anyway, while Matthew's talking about the orcs, I'll check that. But this is the catcher, so he's harder to knock down, but also he's got strength too, so the opponent could get more block dice against him. So
they will.
There is that, but he's good at catching, so he can. And his movement is 8, which is very high.
Yeah.
It's the highest on the board today. It's double the movement of a black orc. So he can sort of nip in and out and do sort of that kind of thing. I've also named all of my team members after people who've played on this channel, Ready Steady Play. So I will probably mention that as we go through the game. But one of them is actually named after Matthew as well, so he's going to have to beat himself up.
I will try to kill myself very quickly.
So Matthew, why don't you talk a bit about the orcs?
Okay, so here are your orcs. Well, the difference between the orc, again, you get three variants. This is one of them. Hopefully I'm holding this in the right place. There's another variant, just here. Sorry, my hands aren't as big as Mike's. And there's the other one. Okay, the difference between an orc linesman and a human linesman is that the human linesman is faster, but the orc linesman has better armour. It's only by one each. Here is your orc thrower. Very similar to a human, except for he's slower.
The models look great in this edition, don't they?
They do, and they're really easy to build as well. One of the things I've always liked about, recently anyway, with Games Workshop stuff, is that they've got a really good stuff telling you how to build the models. But okay, I'm going to get going into a certain player in a second. But this one, it was really easy just to build, and they did have an explanation in the actual rule book. And okay, this is an orc blocker. Now, a black orc blocker. Sorry. Now, the black orc blocker is the slowest person on the pitch, but the strongest. He has the lowest agility and has the highest armour. But what is it you don't like about black orc blockers, Mike?
So I was complaining to Matthew as we were getting these models out of the box, because basically the blitzers all have this ability called block, which means that if you roll on this block die, and again, we probably should have explained the rules a bit before, but the block die has this both down result, which looks like that, which means that both players who've done a block both get knocked down. But if you have the block ability, you don't go down, so it's just your opponent that goes down. Now, the black orc blocker is called a black orc blocker, but he doesn't have the block skill. It's like, what? Why is he not just called a black orc? Call him a black orc and it's fine. But why call him a blocker? I mean, obviously he doesn't have the block skill for balancing reasons, or because it would make him too powerful. That's fine, I get it. But don't call him a blocker if he doesn't have block.
I could also say it's orc mentality.
Just drives me crazy.
Okay, and we've also then got the orc blitzer.
Who does have block?
Yes. Which is this model here. Well, I have numbered these models as well, guys, so we'll know who's who on the pitch as well. The difference between him over the orc linesman is that he has one more movement. I think that's the same for the human blitzer. There's one more movement than the... yes, he does.
Yep. And I think that's part of them sort of being good at blitzing, right?
Yeah.
Which involves a movement action. Yeah, in the version I had, the 1994 version, you actually got different coloured bases that you could use instead of numbering.
Yeah.
I can't remember if the whole base was another colour. I think it was just clip-on rims.
It was. And it was so generic because they all just were standing there like that.
Yeah, all the models were the exact same. Yeah, that was the thing, because they didn't have separate sculpts for thrower and catcher either. All the models looked exactly the same. So you'd have to use a red ring to indicate a blitzer and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was red, yellow, green, blue.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So we obviously come on a long way from there. We've now got these nice balls. Do you have the one with the clippy bit?
Yeah, they're all in this little bag over
this
here.
This is the ball here. You've got a whole bunch of different balls in the thing. You've got an orc ball, which is actually a squig. A squig is a little monster from the Warhammer universe. There he is. And he's got a little face and a little leg sticking out as well. I don't know how well you can see him there, but there you go. And he's got a little peg there as well. So what you can do is you can stick him onto the base of the model. Now, I don't know...
I haven't actually tried yet, so I'm not sure if I've made the holes big enough.
Oh, do you have to pop these holes out?
No. It's they're there, but I don't know if I've actually... sometimes you need to just clean the holes a little first. I didn't think about it until now.
Sure, well, let's have a look. This is actually really fiddly and annoying. So, there we go. No, it does fit.
Oh, good.
So there you go. You can see it does fit onto the base there. Although what you might find is that sort of disrupts the flow of play if you're constantly faffing with this.
Yeah.
And to be honest, so we'll see if we use that.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's annoying. We'll just be like, we're not using it.
Yeah.
But we might as well get out the ball with the peg. So there you go. You've got the peg ball and regular ball.
As you notice, Blood Bolt balls aren't like your normal American football balls. They have spikes on them.
Yeah, well, everything is... It seems like... I remember... The models were not, in the early editions of the game, the models were not, they looked more like football players. They weren't covered with weapons and spikes and stuff. But now that literally everybody has a weapon. Because I was like looking at the orcs and I was like, these guys are huge. They're going to ruin my humans. But then I was like, oh, but the humans all have spikes like knuckle dusters with swords on them. That's great. And then I saw that the orcs actually also have this and have more spikes. And have spikes on their armor. So, I mean, honestly, realistically, I feel like this team would just murder my whole team.
Well, you know, it's fantasy, isn't it? So, and the words fantasy is there for a reason.
So now that we've covered that, let's just quickly do a rundown of the actions because we keep referencing them and we haven't actually explained them.
Yes, true, actually.
But what we'll do is when the game begins, we'll sort of roll a kickoff and stuff like that. We'll set up all the players, the ball. So we'll flip a coin to see who gets to go first. There's a big advantage to that, so that'll be fun. And then once that happens, we'll sort of set up our players on the board. And
no, I think we set up first, then we do roll for the kickoff. Because
the player who is receiving sets up second, so you need to determine.
Oh, you need to determine
who. First.
Yeah. But then we have to roll for the kickoff after we've set up.
So you roll on the kickoff table after you've set up.
Yeah, because I think one of them is the person who's receiving or the kicker can reset their team up.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Well, we'll get to that. So this is a Games Workshop game, which means there's a lot of tables to roll on. There's a lot of dice to roll. In fact, one of the standard actions in the game is a block. A block can be performed when two models are adjacent to each other on the board. And you take a block action. You compare your strength against your opponent's strength. If they are the same, you get 1 block die. If it's greater, you get 2. And if it's twice as much or more, you get 3.
Yep.
If it's weaker, then you actually roll dice and your opponent you roll like 2 dice and your opponent chooses which one happens. So in a perfect world, you don't really want to block unless you've got at least 2 dice, and you certainly don't want to block if your opponent's going to choose what happens. But, you know, it's not a perfect world, and people are going to be sent off and they're going to go out of the game. So if that happens, you know, you might just have to do the best you can with what you've got. And what will happen is you'll roll a block die, and you've got all. So in this case, we'd both. Well, actually, I would lose this because that's actually a blitzer. Yeah, I've chosen a blitzer model. So I would go down
at the end of your turn,
which would end my turn.
Yeah,
and then what would happen is we'd roll. Matthew would roll on the injury table with my giant dice.
Oh yeah, giant dice.
I've got the giant dice so we can see them on the camera. So he's got a 7.
Nah, you're right.
So my armor is 8. Now you have to beat the armor.
You have to beat the armor, yeah.
So a draw or less, nothing happens. If he does beat the armor, he then rolls on an injury table, which means that for one simple interaction, you might have to roll dice 3 or more times.
Yes.
So you know, I'm going to try to keep a lid on my frustration with random chance here because we are playing casually and I do love Blood Bowl, but. Sometimes, when I was a kid, it used to frustrate the hell out of me because you'd set up this great maneuver and you'd go in and you'd make this great strategic play and then you'd just roll like double skulls and you'd just be screwed. A skull means attacker down. So if I'm here, I roll double skulls, I go down. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I could use a team reroll, and I'll explain that later. But the team reroll is once per turn. If I'd already used it or if I didn't have any left, which might be the case, then I'm just screwed. And there's nothing you can really do to mitigate that unless you have sort of extra abilities, and even then,
I don't think there is anything to change skulls
though. You can have a skill called Pro, and Pro allows you to reroll 1 die. I think it's 1 die, or maybe it's one roll. So for example, it would be all of the block dice or 1d6. But again, like it's in this set we haven't got anyone with Pro.
Nope.
And, if that happens, you go down and you suffer a turnover. Do we know all the different things that trigger a turnover?
Failing to catch the ball, failing to pick up the ball, being knocked down, failing a dodge roll. So they're the ones I can only think of.
Dodging, well, I do believe there are actually 7 ways to turnover, but I don't know if that includes the illegal procedures we talked about earlier. But essentially, it's more or less when you fail to do everything. What about when you failed to pass the ball? I don't think that causes a turnover, does it?
Because you dropped the ball, yeah.
So if you fail a pass, you actually
you drop the ball.
Fumble the ball, it's called. Although actually I've heard a lot of sort of Blood Bowl enthusiasts call it squirting. I don't think we should call it that for the purpose of this playthrough. But they say the ball squirts. And then you roll on this little chart here, and the ball shoots out into a space surrounding your player. And then I guess you sell it for a turnover.
Yep.
And a turnover means your turn immediately ends, you get to do nothing else, and the other opponent gets to go. So a big part of doing well at Blood Bowl is performing your sort of chosen actions in the order of least risky to most risky.
Yeah.
So, once you get knocked down, then you can stand back up again. On your turn, that counts as a move action, so that's all you can do on your turn with that player. And it costs 3 movement spaces, so actually you could then continue to move if you had more move. But you wouldn't be able to do a block or a pass, you wouldn't be able to pick up the ball. Moving into a space with the ball, picking it up is a free action, isn't it?
Yeah, that's you don't have to declare that.
So that's that. So you couldn't pass, you couldn't block, but you could pick up the ball if you moved into the space with the ball. And again, so picking up the ball is a free action. And Matthew also mentioned dodging. So every player has a tackle zone, which is the 8 spaces immediately adjacent to them. Yep. And players can move in Blood Bowl in any direction. Moving diagonal movement is free. It's the same as moving to any other adjacent space. And moving into a tackle zone, so moving into another player's tackle zone, that's fine. You can do that whenever you want. Moving within a player's tackle zone or moving out of a player's tackle zone requires a dodge roll. And so we come back to this. These are the player stats. The movement is the first stat. That's how far you can move. That's how many spaces you can move. The second stat is your strength. That's what you compare to your opponent's strength when you're doing a block. The third one is agility. Agility comes in basically whenever you want to do anything that isn't blocking that requires a dice roll. So, for example, picking up the ball, that's agility, isn't it?
Yes.
Passing the ball, agility. Catching the ball, agility. Dodging, agility. So, that's really important, especially if you want to do a lot of moving around. And the third stat is AV, that's armor value, and that's what you roll on when you go down and see if you're injured.
Yes. I'm not sure if the dodge rule changed because I haven't played for so long, but when a player performs a dodge now, they get +1 to the dice roll.
They get +1?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay, you show me.
Sorry about this. I also do the demonstration. To make a dodge roll, +1. Per tackle
-1
zone.
per opposing tackle zone. So, for example, if you're here and you're here and you want to move out of the tackle zones here to there. Now, my agility is 3.
Yes.
Which means I need a 4 more. I get +1, which means I need to roll a 3 or more.
Yes.
But then I get -1 for this man's tackle zone.
You're moving out, though. If you're moving through...
Right, but I'm moving out of 2 tackle zones.
It doesn't. I'll show you on the... Okay, when you move out of the tackle zones, it's actually in a description, very early in the actual book here. The human player actually fails, but I'll show you.
So I was talking to Matthew earlier, and I was like, this is going to be interesting because we haven't played this edition yet. But
there's a description there.
What is interesting is that we've played... There's so many different versions of this game, and so many of them change so subtly that it's very easy to sort of get the rules confused.
It's whether it's saying dodging 2.
Oh, so in this case, because I'm dodging here, I would simply roll a 3 or more because my agility is 3 and I get +1 to a dodge roll.
Yes.
However, if I was moving from here to here, I would have +1 for dodging and -2 because there's 2 tackle zones in effect.
So that'd be a 5/6.
Yep. And again, if I was moving here, I would get -1 because there's only 1 tackle zone from this man affecting that space.
Yeah. Well, I believe in the old rules it used to be also the minuses from people who was around you, not just tackle zones. If you get what I mean. Like, there will be... Again, I could be wrong here, guys, because I haven't played for so long, but I swear when people were meant to take Dodge where you would be coming out here before, these two would make a -1 to the actual dice
I feel
roll.
like there was a negative modifier for that as well previously. But not anymore. And people aren't interested in what it used to be. They are interested in what it is now, Matthew. So let's talk about it now. What else do you have to consider when you're making a block? Friends help, right?
Yes.
So what happens in this situation?
Well, if my blitzer was hitting your player, I'd get 2 dice because this player is there. But if you had this
So your
player...
blitzer has strength 3, and
Yep.
my lineman has strength 3, which means you would have 1 dice.
Yep.
But that man there gives you plus 1 strength.
Yep.
So you would now get 2 dice.
But if you had a player just standing there, you cancel out him from helping me.
Right, so this man cancels that man,
Yep.
which means that we're back to 1-on-1.
Yes.
Very good.
That was in the old rules. as
That
well.
wasn't the old rules, that's true. That's remained the same. And actually, very little has changed. Obviously, they've made dodging a bit easier, which I think is actually really good because, to be honest, it's very easy for very agile teams who have very low armor values and very low strength to just have their entire team killed.
True.
And suffer turnovers all the time. Because again, if you're dodging here and you fail, you not only go down... do you have to roll for armor value then?
Yeah, I think you do.
Is armor every time you go down? Holy
Yeah.
cow, we're all going to die. But you also suffer a turnover. That's fun.
I've had players die. Well, in the old rules anyway, I had players die from failing dodging.
What?
I actually had a player die from failing dodging.
Yeah, he falls over, breaks his neck.
But if you
End of days.
But if you look on the pitch itself, there's so many little like skulls. There's even
Yeah,
like
so this is the tidy human pitch, and there's still skulls and a corpse. If you look at the orc board, it's basically just all skulls.
I think it's rocks everywhere.
No, it's skulls. Matthew, they're skulls.
No, in the orcs it probably is grinded down.
So, with that, do you think there's anything else we need to cover before we get started? There's some extra rules, like what happens when you get pushed off the board, because a lot of blocks result in this result, which is a push back. But, we can sort of go through that as we play. I don't think we need to cover
I don't think you can push into the crowd with a pushback unless you're going that way. If you've got another square that you can go, you can't just push someone into the crowd.
Well, what, if you're here? No, you can't go adjacent.
You have to go back there.
Yeah.
But if I was hitting you like that, you'd have to go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can't just push someone into the crowd if there's an open... I think, again, I could be wrong. I might be referencing the old rules here.
God damn it, Matthew.
Yeah.
Well, we will check that when we get to it.
Yeah.
As usual, as you can see on Ready Steady Play, we are well prepared with all of the rules.
Sorry, I work. I was trying to read the rule book, but I do work.
Yeah, well, that is the problem. We all have full-time jobs that we do other than this. But again, it captures the experience. If you're playing this for the first time at home with the new set, you'll probably be checking the rules a lot too. The last thing to mention, actually, would, I think, be these team rerolls. So I've got 4, Matthew's got 3,
Yep.
Because that's the way it states for the standard teams and setup. And a team reroll means that once per turn, if you choose to do so, you can use the team reroll to reroll 1 interaction, which means...
as long as you haven't used like something like sure hands to pick up the ball, you can't reroll another reroll.
Yes,
And
you
sure
can.
hand, can you?
Yep, you can reroll a reroll with the team reroll.
I didn't think you could. Sorry.
Well, while Matthew checks that, I'll explain how they work.
Sure.
So you get 4, you can use 1 per turn maximum, and you can own the 4 you have operate, or the total you have per half. So, for example, the first half of the game is 8 turns. The second half of the game is 8 turns, which means that I've got 4 for 8 turns, and they allow you to reroll 1 sort of interaction. So, for example, if I'm rolling to catch the ball, that's a 6, which is great, but I could re-roll that if I got a 1 or something. Or if I'm blocking and I've got 2 dice and I get double skulls, like that, which is just the worst. That means I'm going to suffer a turnover and my player's going to go down, so maybe I spend a team re-roll and then I can but I have to re-roll them both. I'm forced to. And then once I've spent all 4 of those, I can't use any more until the half ends, and then when the half ends, I get all 4 back. For the
No, you
second
can't.
half. You can't.
You can't. It's just here. It's player rerolls. If you use a player skill reroll, you can use that, which will not affect your rerolls from over there. The coach may use any rerolls through the game, but may not use a reroll. You may not reroll a reroll.
Got it. You also can't use the team rerolls at the beginning of the game when we're rolling on things like the weather chart and the kickoff table.
Yep.
So speaking of the weather chart, why don't we roll to see what the weather's like?
Okay. Shall we decide who's the receiver and kicker as well?
Do we do that first, or do we roll for weather first?
Not sure. We have to do a little daisy in here. Almost got to them there. Okay, I think weather is first. Then who's receiving, and then let's.
So you get these D16s as well with the game. These are used purely to randomize players because you can have up to 16 players on your team. However, the box comes with 12, so we've also got some D12s out.
Yeah. So I'm going to put number 12 in the reserve box.
Weather table. Shall we do this first?
Yeah, we just do the weather table first, then we'll do the...
Why don't you roll for weather, Matthew?
Okay, let's move
giant dice.
the models to one side. I think the cup needs to come off the board as well.
Yeah, the cup can go somewhere over here. So it's a 5.
Oh, that's the weather's. No, it's perfect.
Nice, perfect Blood Bowl weather. So on a 2 or a 3, an 11 or a 12, we would have had a bad time. We would have had sweltering heat, or very sunny, pouring rain, or blizzards, all of which make things much more difficult. However, it's perfect Blood Bowl weather today. So now we're going to flip a coin to see who
Okay, well,
goes first.
we've agreed that's heads. We're not. I swear, when Mike is right. I think I've just read it a minute ago. The symbol of your team is heads, and the Blood Bowl symbol on the other side is tails. So we're going to. What do you like, Mike? Heads or tails?
I'm going to go with...
We're actually using the orc one here, even though it's the human's home ground.
Well, that's just the way things have worked out. I'm going to go with heads, Matthew.
Tails.
Outrageous.
You will be the receiver.
I'm going to receive.
Yes.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use these special play cards. Basically we just roll a d6 each, and then we get to draw some special cards. And these are sort of things, they're kind of just like sort of special things we can do during the course of the game. You play them either at the beginning or... Well, they'll tell you when you play them and what happens.
Don't we both roll d6 to see who goes first to pick them up, though? Doesn't just go as a home team.
Do I not pick up first as the receiver?
Oh, yeah, it probably is. I picked you as a receiver, so yeah.
So let's have a quick look here. Secret blocks.
It's in the rule book.
It doesn't say here on the quick and easy chart.
Yeah, because it's the advanced rules using the cards.
Oh, advanced rules.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're up to it, Matthew. I think we're up to the advanced rules.
And Matthew's looking through. Now we're going to history. Which page was it again?
So I've played some GW games on the channel before, but
I have to say, I would love to have been here when you did the Dragon Quest.
Dungeon Quest was so much fun. That was really good fun.
It was definitely an old Games Workshop game, though.
Oh, it was super old. Well, the current version is a Fantasy Flight game. And funnily enough, it's not actually under license from GW, so even though they're losing all their GW games...
it just says flip a coin. The winning coach chooses the dice to roll. So technically I won the coin.
Okay, so even though you gave me the first player... you gave me the receiver.
Yeah.
You will...
I was the winner.
You were the winner, so you get to go first. So you roll a d6, and then you draw... So a 1 gets 1 card, 2 to 5 gets 2 cards, and a 6 gets 3. So you can take 2 cards. And I've already shuffled these, but you can take one of each or 2 of the same.
Believe it or not, guys, I don't know what these cards are.
Yeah, we haven't actually ever seen these cards before. They're new for this edition of the game, I think. Maybe they were in a previous Living Rulebook. I've genuinely got no idea. So we don't know what any of these do. There's only one card I've seen, actually, which was pretty cool. So, and there was one card we had to take out because we think it referenced something to do with league play. But again, we don't actually know.
Oh.
So I've rolled a 3 as well. So
well, I'm going to have to play one of my cards.
Right now?
Yeah, literally, it's kickoff.
Well, kickoff will happen in just a second.
Sorry.
So I've got a 3 as well. I'm going to take 2 of these miscellaneous mayhem cards because they're red. And red ones are better.
Oh, okay, fair.
Oh, wait, no, you're the orcs. Shit. Alright, and then these are done now, so these can go over here. And I'll have a quick look here.
I like that one. I like that one a lot. But this one is actually, I've got to play in the beginning, so otherwise I lose it.
So I've got 2 here. Both of mine, well, I won't tell you when they can be played, Matthew, but I'll just tell you I don't have to play any of them right now.
This one, if I don't play now, guys, I basically can't use it again, the event one. So right, so that will, miscellaneous mayhem. So now what would happen, I think, is that you would deploy your team, and then we roll on the kickoff table first, don't we? No, we set up first in the kickoff one.
Okay, so you would now deploy your team. The rules are only 2. You've got to deploy on your side. Only 2 players in each of the flank sections.
Yes.
the wings. I don't know. I'm trying to think of
the wides.
The wides? I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
the technical football term. I don't know it.
I don't know it either. So.
And you've also got to have at least 3 players on the scrum line here. So Matthew's putting his blitzers on the flank. That's a lineman there. More linemen. So you've got catchers, right?
No, I have no catchers.
So you've got throwers but no catchers.
Yeah.
Your Black Orc not blockers are going in the middle. Drives me crazy. So you've got a lineman in your support box?
Yes.
So I've got a lineman in my support box as well. A support box, replacement box, whatever. Matthew's getting ready for a big old scrum there.
It all depends what the kickoff table result is, though. I could end up with like all my team down and you get a very quick touchdown.
As the receiving player, do I go first?
Yes, you would.
Okay. That's the kind of thing that I should probably know.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way, guys. I believe he's the one who goes.
So I'm going to go ahead and deploy my team here now that Matthew's done setting up. I think it's not really in my interest to set up with my players just right in front of Matthew's. Well, actually, I go first, so I can attack first. So maybe I just want to set them all up to try and kill Matthew. I don't know, honestly. So I think... What's funny?
I have to play it, but I've just read it properly and I think it's better than I thought it was.
Oh dear. Well, you know, and this is sort of the thing about Blood Bowl because actually, let's put the blitzers on the inside and the linemen on the outside.
I can see my mistake with my setup now, but I did it so the tackle zones were further apart and stuff like that.
Matthew, I honestly don't know enough about this game to tell you whether or not you've made a mistake. But I feel like I'm going to kind of just, I don't know if that's going to be a terrible idea. Try and ignore those guys. I really feel like my humans are just sort of super fragile here.
That's why your armour looks like it's got a load of padding on it.
Yeah, but my armour looks like I'm sort of got like padded armour. Your armour looks like it's made of metal sheets, and you're giant.
And they've been screwed into our own flesh. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So this man is going to go here.
I'm not going to tell you what to do with your team.
No, I'm. Yeah, don't give me any tips. And these men are going to go back.
I'm sure laying down's a great tactic.
Right. Is this any goose? I don't know.
Oh, I know where that term comes from now. It took me a second to remember.
But I think this might be. Goose. Basically, I'm just operating on the assumption that these 3 linemen are going to die. So that's fine. Hopefully, I can break through one of these flanks and sort of get it that way. Do you know what? Let's actually just go and set. Oh God, math. I don't know.
Basically, I know what my tactic is.
You know what your tactic is. I know what my tactic is. So what's the movement of a Black Orc? 4?
4. Remember, if my Black Orc gets into your catches, he will get 3 dice because it's double your strength by being 4.
I'm not afraid. Okay. Well, I think that's that.
Right. Okay.
So, do we roll on the kickoff table first, or did you do that
I've
first?
got to play this first.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
do it.
This is called hometown fans.
Right. So this is a thing that would happen. There is an advanced rule where you roll to see how many of your fans show up, and then you have a fame factor, and it's sort of calculated from that. And the fame factor can give you bonuses or penalties.
Yep.
No, it gives you a bonus or it doesn't. Anyway,
Yeah.
The point is, for the purposes of this sort of starter game, our fan factors are both set to 6, which means because they're equal, nobody has any sort of positives or negatives.
Yeah. Okay, but what this basically does, I get to choose the direction when the ball goes out of play during the whole of the first half.
So during the whole of the first half, when the ball goes out of play, normally what you would do is you'd throw down this template here.
Yep.
And roll a d6 and then 2 more d6, and it would go in that direction, that number of spaces.
Yeah.
But what happens is now, for the first half, Matthew just chooses which direction.
So I'm going to keep this card next to me there to try and remember, but I know my memory, guys, and it's as good as an orc's.
Well, I'll try and help you out. But hometown fans, bit weird because this is my stadium, but I guess all your guys showed up. To be fair, orcs are known for multiplying very, very quickly and very...
Yeah, because they're a fungi, aren't they?
They are. They do grow from spores. It's true. I don't know about Warhammer Fantasy Battles, actually. In 40k,
yes,
they grow out of mushrooms. It's weird. Right, so I've set up. Now we do kickoff table.
Kickoff table.
It's on the chart there, right?
Yep, you roll 2. I think you roll the 2.
2d6?
Yeah.
I'm going to go over here. So I've got an 8.
An 8 is the brilliant coaching. Each coach rolls a d3. Add their fame. The winner gains an extra reroll this half. Okay, so we both got a roll. D3 is basically
a D6. So 1 to 2 is 1, 3, 4 is 2, and 5, 6 is 3.
Oh, I should have rolled at the same time. Sorry.
So we've both got 3.
We both got 3. So I'm assuming that's a draw. There's nothing. It says the winner. So I assume we roll again.
Or nothing happens.
But if both teams... If it's tied, both teams get an extra reroll. Oh, my rerolls on.
Sweet. So Matthew goes up to 4 and I go up to 5.
So I'm going to really need the rerolls for certain things here, guys.
Me too. Can I reroll? I can only reroll dice I roll, right?
Yes.
So if you're rolling to penetrate my armor, I can't reroll those.
No, because I'm rolling it.
I'm sorry.
No, I think, is armor roll your roll? You roll for your own armor?
Oh my god, we don't even know how to play.
We are terrible. It's so long since
why don't you do kickoff of the ball while I...
Right, where I want to place the ball is... I would like to place the ball here, but it scatters, doesn't it, from kickoff? And I have to... Again, what happens? Sorry about this, guy. Guys, this is probably going to be a fast-forward moment.
Or maybe I'll just leave it and let you suffer the embarrassment. In fact, the opposing player rolls for the armor, so that means Matthew would roll.
I would roll, yep.
And that means I can't force him to re-roll. I think Matthew also rolls on the injury table, so whatever happens, I just suffer it. I just suffer.
So I'm just trying to find where kickoff. Master. Sorry about this, guys. Kickoff table. Choose a random player. Kickoff. Come on. This must be at the beginning bit. Start of kickoff. Because I'm assuming it just scatters. The ball just goes in a random direction from there and scatters.
You choose. Just pick a place to put it?
I swear that's what you do.
I feel like that is the case. You pick a place to put it, but then you roll to see if it scatters.
Yeah. And then certain events can make it scatter even further. Boot camp, not in boot camp. Basic rules.
Wow, are we checking basic rules?
Okay, both teams.
Ready, steady, check the rules.
I'm going to pass you the book to read in a second because you're a faster reader. Okay, at the start. Yep. Including, you can choose to put the ball anywhere on the opponent's half, but then you must scatter the ball.
Right, doesn't it scatter twice, but unless you have
1d6.
The pass skill, in which case it scatters once?
No, it says roll the d8 and then roll 1d6 for how many squares they actually make.
Okay, so why don't you roll a d8 and a d6?
Yep.
There's a giant dice and then there's a tiny dice.
I'll do the d8. So, guys...
So we've got a scatter thingy here. Normally you would take this up and put it on the board. However, I read that the pros just leave it on the side to avoid the directions changing during the course of the game. So we're going to do it pro way, which means it'll just sit there and we'll tell you where it goes.
8
means forward, so 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I preferred it where it was, so maybe it's a good thing for you.
Okay, so I swear you go first.
Yeah, because I'm the receiving team.
Yes.